Welcome back to another episode of this tutorial series. We are almost done modeling our F1 car. Today we are going to make a steering wheel and cockpit. Let's finish it. Today we will try something different. We will do a hard surface model without using subdivision modifier. Let's add a new collection and rename it to cockpit, as this is the last part which is remaining. We will be doing the steering wheel, cockpit and some details. And we can hide everything else we modeled before. Now go to the Google and look for some steering wheel reference images. I will model this one from Williams because it's simple and it's different from Ferrari models I done before. So I just downloaded this image, go back to Blender, go to top view by pressing 7. You can't see the screencast, just give me a second, I will turn it on so you see what I'm doing. And I will just drag and drop this image into the scene. Recenter the image by changing the location to 0 and then scale it down. Okay, let's model this. We will start by adding a new plane, scale it down and go to edit mode. You can turn on the X-ray, add a loop cut to the middle and delete one side because we will model only one side because it's symmetrical, and then we will use a mirror modifier. I will start with the main shape. Let's move these vertices to the side, and what we will do now is try to copy this shape as close as possible. To do that I will add a new mesh, circle, keep the vertices at 32 and scale it down. Move it and then scale it so it matches the reference. Duplicate this circle by pressing Shift D and move it to second location. And then delete the vertices you don't need. Copy this circle again with Shift D and move it to another place, scale it up, and just like that we will be doing this outer shape. This way you can practice the basic commands like scaling, extruding, duplicating. It's really about you making sure that you know what you are doing and you are using the commands which you learned before. When you delete the vertices you don't need, merge the vertices you want, add loop cuts, extrude and create this outer shape. Let's duplicate this circle again, move it to the position, delete the vertices you don't need and bridge the one you wanted. It's really simple, it's just playing with the vertices. The theory behind this is that when we create the outline, we can fill whole surface like a one big flat plane without worrying about the topology that much. Now extrude this edge, copy the image again and move it to another location. Just repeat these steps so you can practice them. Don't worry if you don't follow the shape exactly, it's about having fun, it's about creating your way, so just create as you like. Every time you have a corner, just duplicate the circle, move it to new position, scale it. It's really simple, then just extrude the vertices you need and create the outline. Let's delete these two vertices, we don't need them. Instead we will connect these two middle ones so we have a precise edge in the middle. Then extrude it on the side and connect it to close the loop. Once you have that, we need to create the openings for the screen and for the rotating buttons. I will add two loop cuts in the middle by pressing Ctrl R and scrolling up so I have two vertices on this edge. Then move them to correct position with double G and extrude it to the side. Then I just delete the middle edge. Now copy this line, scale it to 0 in X, move to position, duplicate in X and connect the vertices. Select this rectangle, duplicate it with Shift D and move it to the position of second button. Okay, so now we have the outline of the base shape. So what is the easiest way to fill this now? We need to tell the Blender that we don't want to fill the small rectangles, but instead keep them as a whole. We will do that by connecting one of the edges of these rectangles to the outer line. Now select everything by pressing A and exclude these 4 edges you just used. Now we have only the outline we want to fill, and we do that by pressing F. Just like that we have the main plane. We can delete the circle, we don't need it anymore. Select everything again by pressing A and extrude by pressing E. You can hide the reference, delete the inside faces so you can use the mirror. Now you can add the modifier, generate the mirror. And select all the edges you want to bevel. You need to select all of the edges of both sides so it's symmetrical, and then add a bevel by pressing Ctrl B. You are adding the resolution by scrolling the wheel of your mouse. Now go to Object Mode, right click and Shade Auto Smooth. This will be the base shape of our steering wheel. Let's continue. Now let's add the handles. Go to Top View by pressing 7, add New Mesh, Circle and increase the vertices to 64. Now go to Edit Mode and scale it down to match the shape of the handle. Move it to correct position and scale it the way it matches the outer shape. Then duplicate it with Shift D and move it to the side to match the inner shape of the handle. Delete all of the vertices you don't need. You can delete these 4 which are on the edges and then select remaining vertices by pressing L and delete them at once. Now let's manually fill this. We could use the bridge edges, but I will not do it here because I'm sure I don't have the correct number of vertices of both sides, so I will do it manually and add loop cuts when it will be needed. As you can see on this end we don't have enough vertices, so we will move this down by pressing G and then add a loop cut. And like that I can fill this shape, but I still need one more, so I will move it again and add another loop cut and then I can close this. Now let's go down, move this vertex, add a loop cut and move this vertex to some better position, and we will bevel it later. Now let's create connection to the steering wheel. Select these 3 vertices, extrude them in X, scale them in X to 0 and then scale them to correct position. Extrude them in X again and scale and move them the way that you match the position of the steering wheel. We want to keep a little gap here as we will insert it later and move it inwards. We will do the same thing on the upper part, select these 3 vertices, scale them and rotate them to match the outer shape. Okay, now select everything and move it up. You can hide the reference image and then extrude it in Z. Now we can select all of these edges and bevel them. We will add a bevel to these bottom edges as well and also to this middle one. Now select the edges on the connection to the steering wheel and bevel them as well. When you do that, select these inner faces and insert them by pressing I. Then scale the selection in Z axis. And now we can extrude in inside of the main shape. We will do the same on the top, but here make sure you are not crossing the shape where the button will be. Go back to object mode and shade smooth. Add new modifier, generate mirror, and just like that we have handles. Honestly, I don't like that it's not as smooth as I thought it would be, so I will add one subdivision modifier to create a nice smooth surface of the handles. Now turn back on the reference image and go to top view by pressing 7, and we will create the bottom part. Add a new mesh, it will be a circle, and don't forget to lower the resolution to 32 vertices. Then scale it and move it to position as before. Now delete the one side of the circle, and from this vertex extrude it to the side. Delete the vertices you don't need, and extrude the middle vertex. Now just make the connection inside the main shape. Select everything by pressing A, fill it, and add modifier mirror. Select everything, rotate it so you can see what you are doing, and move it a little bit down. Then extrude it down, but don't go over the main shape. We will be adding one big piece to the back, which will cover everything. Don't forget to delete the inside plane, and then you can use the modifier. Again select the edges and bevel them with Ctrl B. Go to Object Mode, right click, Shade Auto Smooth. We can select both of these pieces and join them together. And let's add a material. Go to Material tab and select a carbon fiber, and for the handles select rubber. Next we will do the buttons. Hide what we already have and turn on the reference image again. We will create all these small buttons and also the rotating selectors. Again add a new object, it will be circle, go to edit mode and scale it down. Then move it to one of these buttons, doesn't matter which one, we will create one button and copy it to other locations. You already know the process, select everything, extrude it down so it will be overlapping with the main shape. You can turn on the X-ray so you see what you are doing, then select the top loop and extrude it up. Go to top view and now click extrude, escape and scale it down, and then extrude in Z-axis. Now duplicate this circle by pressing Shift D and scale it down, turn on the X-ray so you see what you are doing, and extrude it up in Z-axis again. Fill this circle by pressing F and bevel the edge. You can bevel these outer edges as well. Go to Object Mode, Shade Auto Smooth, then back to Edit Mode, select everything and we will copy it. Then you can hide the reference image, show the main shape and move these buttons down so it's touching the bevel. Now you can turn the reference back on and create a new circle. We will create the rotating selectors. So this time I will start from the middle and going to outer edge because in the middle is a nice circle, but on the outside it has teeth. Extrude it, scale it down, fill it with F, select the outer vertices, extrude it up, click extrude, escape scale, extrude, escape scale again, And now we will create the teeth. Now select every second edge. When you do that, press extrude and scale it up. Then go to each of these new edges and scale it down by 0.5. Select all of these outer edges, go to side view and move them down. Then select complete outline and extrude it in Z and scale it in Z to 0. Now select this button by pressing L, Shift D to duplicate, move it Z, rotate by Y by 180 degrees. Move it up a little bit, delete these inside vertices, and extrude this inside circle so it's overlapping with the main shape. Now select this bottom part by pressing L, go to top view by pressing 7, and rotate it by Z-axis by 11.25 degrees. Now we can bridge these edge loops, select this by pressing L and move it down. Turn the reference back on and move these to other positions. Select the two middle ones by pressing L over them and separate the selection, because we will not be mirroring these two, we will join them together later. Now go to Object Mode, select the buttons on the side and add Mirror modifier. You can apply this modifier and then join it together with the middle buttons. Let's rename this object to Steering Wheel Buttons. We will also use these selectors as these side buttons. Go to Edit Mode, select one of these selectors by pressing L, duplicate it and separate this selection. Now go back to Object Mode, select this new button and go to Edit Mode. Select everything by pressing A and rotate it by Y by -90 degrees. Go to Top View, move it to the position and scale it up. Scale it in X-axis so you fill that rectangle, go to Side View and move it down. Then go to Top View again, duplicate it and move to second position. You can go to Side View, select everything and align it to the middle of the steering wheel. Go back to Object Mode, add a new modifier, Mirror. You can apply it and join it with the buttons. Let's rename these other objects. Let's call this a steering wheel handles and this steering wheel main shape, and we can continue with the work. Now add a simple plane, scale it down, go to Edit Mode, go to Top View, scale it down in Y so you match the shape of the LCD screen. Then go to Side View and move it a little bit down. And you can rename it to LCD screen. Let's take a look what's remaining. Last thing we need is LEDs. We will create this bar and then we can go to the back to create the shifters. You should already know this process. Add a new mesh, circle, scale it down, move it to position. Select everything, duplicate it, move it to second position to create outer space. It's really simple, it's just repeating the same steps. Now you should already know the process, so you can try it yourself. Add a new mesh, circle, move it to the position, scale it down, then duplicate it, move it to the side, delete half of it and extrude it to the middle so you create the outer shape. Then duplicate this circle again to create other LEDs, duplicate it again, scale, move, extrude and create these shapes. To create an individual LED, select the circle, extrude it in Z, extrude it in Z again, scale it down, fill this shape and then bevel the edge. Select it by pressing L and duplicate it by Shift D and move it to a new position. Duplicate it again for the top bar, but what we want here is to use a mirror. So we will not put this directly in the middle, but to the side, so we can use the mirror without overlapping this middle segment. Add a mirror modifier so you see what you are doing. Duplicate this LED to other position, select the outer contour and scale it and move it to the position which you like. Now select both of these outlines, go to side view, move them down, extrude in Z and fill each of them. You can bevel the edge as well. Go to Object Mode, Shade Smooth and we can rename this to Steering Wheel LEDs. Before we move forward, let's quickly add material. We'll create a new material and rename it to plastic black and really make it like simple black material for these buttons. Now select the LCD screen and make it like a glossy black, so it will be resembling the LCD screen before we make a proper texture. Now select the LEDs, add a new material slot and rename it to Steering Wheel LEDs. I will make it green and then move to Emission tab. I will change the strength and also make it green. You can see how it will look in the preview. You can play with these values so you achieve the look which you want. Then go to Edit Mode. Click anywhere on the screen so you deselect everything. Select only the objects which you want to make an LEDs and assign this material slot to them. Now let's try it again with the buttons. Select the buttons, add a new material slot, create a new material, rename it to plastic buttons, change the color and apply it to the buttons. Later we will add different colors to each button, but for now we want just a separated material slot for them. So select all of them by pressing L and assign the material in Material tab. And just like that we have the base shape of the steering wheel. It seems kinda flat, so select everything and scale it up in the Z-axis so it looks good to you. That's better. Now let's go back to normal view, go to opposite side and let's create the back piece. Don't forget to save your work by pressing Ctrl S. And now you already know the process. Add a new mesh, circle, scale it down, move it down, go back to back view, go to edit mode and move it to the correct position. Delete half of it and extrude the remaining vertices to make the back shape. We will not complicate it, just create a simple shape which will cover the whole back area. Again we will create it as half shape and then we will use the mirror modifier for the other side. Scale this to in epsilon to the same height, select everything, move it up, and then delete the middle face. We can bevel all of these edges to create nice smooth surface, and then also bevel the main shape. Go to Object Mode, right-click, Shade Smooth, add Material Carbon Fiber Procedural, and merge it with the main shape. Now we will add the pedal shifters. Go back to Google and look for some reference images of the steering wheel from the backside. As you can see, on the backside you have one white pedal on the top, and then you have two separated pedals on the bottom. In the middle is a connecting piece to the steering rod. It shouldn't be a problem for you to create something simple as that. You can download this image if you want to use it as a reference, but we will just freestyle it here. You already know the process. Add a new mesh, plane, move it up and go to edit mode. Scale it down. The first we will create upper pedal. Don't forget to add a loop cut and delete 1/2 because we will be mirroring this as well. Extrude it to the side and create some simple pedal shape. Now duplicate these vertices and move it to the bottom to create the lower one. Take a look on the reference if you need to. Now let's add a new modifier. As usual, it will be a mirror. Select everything and move it down. There will be a connection on the end and in the middle, so now we will extrude it in -Z. Turn off the mirror modifier and don't forget to delete the middle plane. Select these faces and move them down, and now let's add a bevel. Then use the same technique on the second one. This is really just about practicing the steps you already know, so you just remember the shortcuts, you remember the flow, you remember what to do. Just make it nice and smooth. Do it the way you like it. Now let's add the connections. Let's not complicate it, extrude this face and delete the middle face. On the second one, extrude it to the side and then extrude it inward. Go back to Object Mode and Shade Auto Smooth. Now we will create this triangular shape and then add this connecting piece. Before we proceed, add a carbon fiber to these pedals and then save your work. Now let's repeat the process, add a new plane, move it up, scale it down, go to edit mode, delete half of it and create the shape. It may seem boring, but all of this is about repeating the same steps to remember them, to remember the shortcuts, to remember the process, to remember what you want to do and how to do it. When you are done, join this triangle with the pedals and then join it with the main shape. Now let's add that connecting piece. Add a circle, go to edit mode, scale it down and move it to the position. Press 7 for top view and then press 9 to the opposite side, scale it down and move it a little bit. Extrude it down, and now the fun part. First we will create the inner shaft and then we will create that piece. You already know this process from the buttons. Extrude, escape, scale and extrude in Z. This will be the main steering rod. Now we will need to make this connection piece. Select these edges and duplicate this with Shift D. Move them up, scale a little bit and extrude in Z. Extrude again and scale down. Now we made the inner part. Select this bottom edge of this, extrude, escape, scale again and we will create the outer shape of this. Extrude, escape, scale, then extrude in Z. Again extrude, escape, scale, extrude in Z again and you can fill this shape. Now select this middle rod, move it down, extrude, escape, scale, extrude in Z and fill, and you can insert. Last thing is add the bevel to this. Back to object mode, right click, shade smooth, and let's take a look if we have a material for this. Let's make it a little bit more colorful and add a brass to this. Save your work before you proceed and then search in Blender Kit for brass. Pick the one you like and drag and drop it to the object. Now add a new material slot, pick a black plastic, go to edit mode and apply black plastic to the middle piece. Okay, and just like that we have our simple steering wheel. Now let's go through all of these parts and apply mirror modifier. When you do that, add a new empty plane axis. You can scale it down and rename it to steering wheel empty. Apply the scale. Actually, you can apply all transforms here. Now select all of the parts of the steering wheel. As the last, select this empty, press Ctrl P and parent this to the empty. Choose the option Object Keep Transform. And now you can move your whole steering wheel just by moving this empty. Let's put it into the car. Show the main body and then move it up. Rotate it by Z by 180 degrees. Then rotate it by X by 90 degrees. And then go to top view. Scale it down a little bit and move it to a correct position. Now let's add details to the bodywork. We will create the inside part of the main body. Disable the mirror and go to edit mode. Select this inner edge, Shift D to duplicate and P to separate selection. Go back to object mode, choose this new object, go to edit mode, select everything and extrude it in Z a little bit. Disable the subdivision. Then unselect this one vertex and extrude it down. You can move these two up. Then select these four, go to top view and extrude in X. Scale in X to 0 and move it the way that it connects on the mirror. Now we need to add a 3 loop cuts to connect these. Add a 1 loop cut here and move these back vertices to the front. You can check the shape by turning on the subdivision. Then go to front, select these two vertices and move them down. Then select this edge and extrude it in epsilon. Again add loop cuts, connect it to the bottom, add 1 loop cut to the middle and connect it to the side. Add a 1 loop cut here and turn on the subdivision. And just like this we have the base of the interior. Now we will add the connection to the steering wheel. Select this face and move it down. Add a loop cut here to make this edge sharper. And we will add a circle. Change the number of vertices to 12. Scale it down and move it to the position. Try to match that steering rod and then move it out in the Y. Delete half of it and extrude it in Y. Make sure you delete only edges, not the vertices. Turn on the subdivision and mirror modifier, go to object mode, shade smooth, and just like that we have this connection. I think we will not be making seat for this model, but we will just change this bottom piece to make it smoother. If you have time, you already know the process, you can create the seat yourself. It depends if you want to render the interior. Why would you model something which won't be visible at the end, you know? So now we will just simply adjust this so it's a smoother shape if the camera will catch it, but we will not worry about it much. And just like this we have the inner part of the cockpit. One last thing which I want to add here is a little glass in the front, so you can repeat the same technique you just tried. Again go to main body, turn off the modifier and duplicate these two edges. Separate them by pressing P, then go back to object mode and select this new part. Now I will apply the subdivision modifier as I want more vertices when I will work with this part. Move the subdivision in front of the mirror and apply the modifier. One is not enough, we will use two. Now go to edit mode, delete the vertices you need, select everything and with Shift E move the weight of the edges down. Then select everything, extrude it in Z, select the up part and extrude it in Z again. Add a new modifier, it will be subdivision again. Add a one loop cut in the middle, select upper part and move it in Y axis. Then select everything and extrude it Y to create overlap. Add a one loop cut in the middle to add a thickness. Select these three vertices and slide them to the top with double G. Select everything, move it back in Y a little bit, and just like this. Shade smooth, and as you can see we didn't remove the middle faces, so go back to edit mode and delete all of these middle faces. Rename these new parts which we just created. We actually have the glass in the scene already, so we will just apply it to this. And let's take a look on reference. Are we missing something or we have everything? We are actually missing these two little flaps on the front. We will simply fix that, we will just copy it from the top. Select this part, go to edit mode, select this side and separate it, then duplicate it and move it to the front. I want to mirror this along main body and then go to object mode and apply object origin in center of volume. Move it to the correct position, you can rotate it by X if you want to, then move it a little bit to the side, go to edit mode and move these edges inside. You can join this top piece back together and rename this new part. Don't forget to save your work. And one last thing I want to change is a proper rear light. Because right now we have only a simple emitter, but I want to model a proper rear LED light. Go back to normal view and unpack this collection. It's modeled as a simple object, so we can hide the floor and focus only on this. I will select this original emitter and move it to the back. Now we will make the LEDs in front of it. I will add a new circle. I don't want to subdivide this, so I will put it to 32, then move the circle to the position and scale it down. We will use the same principle we used for the buttons. Move it up, scale it down, move it to the correct position, and then model the shape. We will be making 3 rows and as many LEDs as it fits. Just create the one light and then copy it multiple times. You already know this process. Select everything, extrude it in Y, then select this edge, extrude, escape, scale, and extrude again. Fill this by pressing F, shift the duplicate, scale it down, and extrude in Y. Now select everything and duplicate it to the side. Select everything again and duplicate it in Z, and do this multiple times to fill this whole shape. When you have enough of the LEDs, select everything, move them down. Select everything and assign a black plastic, then pick the inside which will be the emitter and assign the LED emitter. Then select all of these side LEDs. Press P to separate them and go to Object Mode. Add a mirror modifier, apply that modifier, and join this with the middle row of LEDs. Go to Object, set Origin Center of Volume, and then move it in Y behind the glass. Right click, Shade Auto Smooth. Select the original emitter, go to Edit Mode, and move this back plane so it's little overlap with the edge of the LEDs. Go to the Object Mode, turn the floor back on, and you can take a look on your final model. If you managed to get here, congratulations! You made Formula 1 car in Blender. Be proud of yourself. I'm done with modeling. In next episodes we will continue with UV unwrapping and textures. But you can spend as much time as you want to add any details meantime. Let me know in the comments how your progress is going, like this video and follow for next episodes. Thank you for watching and see you next time.